Hi, this is Billy. So, a few people asked me to make a video about this. So, I will. Um, so, I'm a foster parent in North Carolina. Now, there's a lot involved here, so it's going to be a multitude of videos. But we'll just start here. Alright? What's it take to become a foster parent? Alright. So, first you got to take a class, right? You call the county DSS and Department of Social Services. And most of the time CPS is inside of that. And they'll get you to the right person. Sometimes you got to do an interview before they let you take the class. It kind of depends on what county you're in. So I can only speak for North Carolina. I can only speak from the county that I foster in. I'm not going to give that county. But some counties require you to do an interview before you even take the class. Some let you take the class. Now, once you sign up and you start taking the class. It's done a bunch of different ways. The class is 40 to 48 hours, depending on where you at. They do sometimes they'll do 4 hour class, one class per week for 4 hours, or two 4 hour classes per week. You know, till it's done, right? So we were one class a week for 10 weeks. But they go through a lot, right? Like while you're in the class, you do a whole lot of family history. They want to know everything. They want to know how you were raised, how your family handled certain situations, how you and your siblings interacted. Were you adopted? Were you biological? Was there abuse in the family? Was there addiction in the family? Was there sexual assault on you or around you? All this they want to know. That packet's like 60 pages long, right? And then at the end of the class, they're going to have a packet that they want you to fill out of asking you a bunch of questions. What type of children do you envision coming in a home? How are you going to discipline them? What would you do in this scenario? What would you do in that scenario? It's very involved, right? If you have any kind of criminal record like felonies, out. It's not going to happen. Most misdemeanors, it's not going to happen. If you are physically ill or got some type of like depression or anxiety or something, um, you're gonna have to go to the doctor, and you're gonna have to get, show that you're following your regiments that the doctors have put you on. You got to show that you're not a detriment to that child. You got to be able to prove, and you'll do that through doctors and counselors, that you're capable of taking care of these children, and that you're also capable of taking care of yourself, right? If you come off of your plans that the doctors give you without doctors' permissions, and your disease or ailment severe enough, you can lose your foster children. If you're not following what they ask you to do, and you get by with it, when you go to renew your license, you're going to have another a physical evaluation done by your doctor. And your doctor is required by law to be honest. And if you're not doing what they asked you to do, the state will know. So, these are things you got to keep in mind. You know, um, Other things you got to keep in mind, of course, they do a thorough background check. But they check into your history, your rental history, your credit, your bank statements, how much money you make. They want to make sure that you can afford to take care of these children without any assistance at all. Now, the assistance ain't nothing, right? The little bit of money they throw is not a whole lot of money, right? Kids cost, right? You're gonna be spending your own money. Now they do help, but it ain't much at all. And so financial requirements are there. You don't have to make a lot of money, right? If your bills are low and you can support one children, two children, then they'll they'll license you for that. So there's a lot of different licensing requirements for different amounts of children, right? So you have a space requirement, you have a furniture requirement, and then you have a monetary requirement. So you have to make, let's say you want 4 foster kids, they're going to figure out what it costs per month per child. And they want to make sure that you got disposable income of that. So to explain disposable income, let's say all your bills and all your bills together, right? Light bill, car payment, water bill, home payment, all that stuff put together is, 70% of what you make, not count food and gas. You're probably not going to be a foster parent, right? Not for 4 children. You might be able to be a foster parent for one, right? So just because you got a big house and you got all the furniture, if you don't have the financial means to take care of 4, they might only give you 1, might only give you 2. Then, or if you got all the financial means in the world, but you only got a 2-bedroom house, then feasibly, you can only put 2 kids in that 1 bedroom. But that 1 bedroom is going to have a bed for both kids. It's going to have a closet big enough for both kids. So, bunk beds are twins. You got to have a closet big enough for both of them to share. You got to have, a dresser for each one of them. You got to have a place for their stuff. So there's a lot involved. So if you're in a, little 750 square foot apartment, you might only get licensed for 1 kid. Which that might not be bad. It might be all you can do. But you don't have to be a foster parent that takes kids in. You could also be, I can't remember what it's called, respite. Yeah, respite. It's called respite, right? Where you just take a child in for a week, couple of days, right? Foster parents having a surgery, they're going to be incapacitated for 3 days. Can you take this child, right? Or there's death in family, something like that, right? Or even, because it's very limited, who can watch foster children? Some children get sick, right? And if both foster parents work, you can't just take off work, right? Not all the time. Not if you got a bunch of them rotating in and out. Well, mama and daddy, and your parents or your auntie, your uncle, unless they got some type of license through DSS, they can't watch them. They can't go pick them up, right? Well, they have an option for people to where they're licensed foster parents, but all they do is take the kids for an afternoon or pick them up when they're sick or help get them to doctor's appointments and things like that, So if you're retired and, or, your schedule is in a way to where you got some free time during the day, you could sign up and be a respite foster parent and only be there for emergencies for foster parents. You can, just go pick up kids for school when they're sick and watch them until the parents can pick them up or something like that, or a babysit, right? Because a regular old babysitter can't watch a foster child. Well, depending on the state you're in. In my state, you can't. So, there's a lot of different ways to be foster parents. But those are some of the things that come to mind when I think about getting started and what you kind of got to think about. Well, I think this video is long enough. Hope y'all have a good one now.